Shit happens.
And we good. Yo, it's my absolute pleasure.
Live, bro.
We live. We live. It is my absolute pleasure to be joined by one of my role models, the big brother Toby Morse of H2O fame. Thank you for taking the time, man.
Of course, you're one of my favorite Kiwis.
Well, we met through one of our favorite Kiwis, Lawrence Heat, back in the day, Alphabet City. Yeah.
Lawrence, man. Lawrence is a great kid. We brought him on tour. We brought him to Europe. He used to work at Kate's Joint with my wife. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love Lawrence, man.
Yeah, that's where I met you, out in New York City. Like, I was 19 years old and you were touring on FTTW. And I don't know, you kind of like took me under your wing for a while and take me to shows. It was 2000. And yeah. And I was like, oh, yo, this is Toby Morse. And now here we are talking shit.
I'm so old.
I know. You're 50 and I'm 40. Yeah. So
you and Dan Smith the same age.
Yeah. That's right. Because your boys obviously.
Shirt, bro. It's a nice shirt.
Oh, thank you. I've always been a big fan, man. Ever since I heard Adrenaline, huge band.
You brought Chino on my podcast?
Yeah, I saw you had Chino on your podcast.
Yeah.
Really I used to do radio down here, and I talked to him when they were playing at like a big festival or something. Seemed like a really great guy.
Yeah, he's awesome, humble,
good human.
Yeah, smart human. Yeah, he's great.
Out
there, man. So I saw you had an injury and shit.
Yeah, it's been a drag, because I deal with life through exercise, and I've just been like stuck being doing press ups, But yeah, I'm on the up, man. I'm trying to keep that PMA, as you say. But to be honest with you, it was pretty tough. Like, my anxiety was fucking spiraling for a while there. And
with lockdown and stuff, and not being able to like just go get exercise and get that release of stress in everyday life, it's hard, man.
Yeah, and you're a bit isolated, like, because you're still in lockdown in Los Angeles, right?
We're in lockdown, but like we are, but like Runyon Canyon's open. You have to wear a mask to get in there. And during this lockdown, I tried to become a handyman. And me and Rusty and some friends, we did my whole garage and made it into a gym. It's soundproof. There's boxing gear. My son's drums. So like, it's really nice to have that.
Oh, that sounds cool. Well, I found lockdown like actually quite a positive experience in lots of ways, because it felt like more of a community in my neighborhood for the first time forever. Like, I was taking in the trash for the lady at the end of the street and spending more time with my kid. And was that kind of like your experience of it over there?
That's actually the exact conversation that my band members talked to me on my podcast last week, is that, both my brothers and their neighbors became closer to their neighbors. They just started having this reggae band play in front of their house on Saturday nights. Everybody's social distancing. And they play all reggae covers of Bob Marley and Steel Pulse. They have their own originals. They're a big reggae band. It just so happens that the singer lives on the corner of my brother's block. And he had no idea that Todd lived on his block, and they were both musicians until this lockdown happened. So now when you go, that's all kids playing in the streets, listening to reggae music, and people with their masks on, and people were skating, and it's such a beautiful experience. It's the only live music I've seen this whole year.
Wow.
So now my brother's getting to know his neighbors, and like and when I went, he jumped on stage and played guitar. They did like a Whalers cover. So just kind of that community type thing, and people are like, I feel like that too. Like, we had a thing here in LA that at 8 p.m. every single night, we go outside on the porch and everybody yell and scream for the essential workers. So it became a thing where all my neighbors would be screaming. My wife smashing like a pot with a freaking spoon, is screaming for the every night we did that. It was really nice.
Yeah, that rules. I think, I'm always trying to look for the positives in a difficult experience. And I really hope that when life returns to some sort of more, I guess, not normal, because I don't think it's ever going to be quite the same, but when we return to how it kind of is, we keep some of this with us, right? Like, we don't just go back to like getting out of bed way too early and fucking smashing energy drink and never seeing our families and working too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so too. I think that this has really tested relationships and family structure and stuff, all that stuff, where people did have a routine where, you kiss your wife goodbye, people go do their 9 to 5s, they come home at night, make their dinner, catch up, watch a movie, go to sleep. Now it's like Max is doing homework in one room, I'm in this office, Moon's in the dining room trying to get her work done, and you're kind of on top of each other. So you kind of test each other. We see each other so much. And my wife is so used to me going on tour and coming back that she told me that, like, the reason why we've been together so long is because we did have that experience of missing each other and me leaving and coming back. And and that's a great thing. It makes your relationship stronger. But now it's on top of each other. So I saw it in my wife's face, like she wanted to snap on me and Max because we're fucking so hyper. And I made an executive decision in the house. I said, "Yo, you going back to work?" And that was way before people started going to my door. But she works at a skate park, so it's indoors. There's nobody there. So she's been at work for a while, but she was so happy. I was like, just get out of the house, because now you can leave and come home and then see us. But like, me and Max are I'm like a big kid, and we're both very hyper. And so you have to balance that. And then some people might be getting divorces from this. Hopefully not. Like, you see the strength of relationships when you're stuck together for so much.
Yeah. That's same with us. We were kind of bickering a bit, but then we got through it, and in lots of ways it strengthened our relationship, my partner Claire and I. For anyone who's just tuning in and they don't know about Toby Morse and H2O, where'd you start, brother? Tell us about, where'd you grow up? Because anyone who knows hardcore will know who you are, but for anyone who's just like, oh, yo, what is this? Who's Toby Morse?
You're just a weird freak. I was born in Massachusetts, and then my dad passed away when I was young, and then my mom was raising 3 boys on her own. We moved to Newport, Rhode Island, where my mom got a job. Lived there for a good amount of time. That's where I got introduced to punk rock and skateboarding in the 80s. And then my mom got a job in Southern Maryland, so I moved to Maryland for my high school. For my 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, I moved to like the South. It was like rednecks and Confederate flags, and it was scary. But the 2 positive things is that we met Rusty Pistachio there, my guitar player. He was a maintenance man at the apartment complex. My mom was his boss. Rusty had a mullet. He's a total redneck. And we got him into skateboarding, and he shaved his mullet into a mohawk, and the rest is history. And so, yeah, I lived there for 4 years of my life. And then I had dreams of moving to New York because I love the scene. I love the bands, love everything about the hip hop. Just love New York. And when I was 18 years old, I moved there all by myself. I had like one friend, a singer of this band called Token Entry. We were pen pals. We wrote letters to each other. And I moved out there all by myself, left my first love on a winding road, said goodbye. It was just like a movie, man. And then I went there, and I fucking moved to Queens, started roadieing for different bands like Gorilla Biscuits, Underdog, Sick of It All, Killing Time, doing weekend things here and there. And then I became a real roadie for this band, Sick of It All, and they took me on tour for like 4 or 5 years all around the world. And I always loved going to shows. I love the energy of the shows, but I was kind of always in the back because I was a roadie. But I wanted to be up front. I feel like I had things to say, so I was always bringing a journal, writing shit in my journal. And then wrote this song called My Love Is Real. And the guys in Sick of It All would let me come on stage as like an encore, and I'd come up and scream this crazy song. And I didn't know how to sing, and I feel like I was going to shit myself. My nose is going to bleed. I just did this screaming song, and like I started making H2O stickers. It was going to be like almost a joke, and it became a thing where like then Isaac would come up and play, and then Tim Ensign would play it, and the guys in Biohazard. It became this thing where I play this song on other people's show. I jump up on stage and do one song. And the real turning point was Rancid and Avail were playing in New York, I think on the Let's Go tour at Wetlands. And they invited me to come up and do my song to like a total Rancid punk rock crowd. And me, Pete Sick of It All, Tim Ensign, and Armand came up, and I did this screaming song. I had suspenders on, shaved head. I was bugged out, man. People were just like, what the hell is this? But on that recording, it's on the end of our first album. Just as a joke, Lars is like, new record, Epitaph Records, coming this summer. And he almost predicted the future in a sense. And we did one record, Blackout. That was the first time. Then we ended up going to Epitaph, and the rest is kind of history. I've been in the same band now for 25 years.
Damn.
Very lucky.
That band is H2O.
That band is H2O. I've been there for 25 years. Very lucky. I had an up and down career with different labels and all that stuff, but we maintained. And yeah, man, it's still the same lineup. Only one thing's changed originally is the bass player. And so I'm an H2O, and I sing in the band. And it's pretty interesting. I'm 50 years old. I've been in this band half of my life.
That's wild. And also, you've got a whole bunch of side hustles. You got your new podcast, One Life, One Chance, and
podcasts. Have a nonprofit, One Life, One Chance, speaking at schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I've been grinding. I've always been like that. I guess I've always had more than one thing I was trying to do, you know?
What do you think drives that? You know, like for a lot of us in the scene, I guess it's anger and hurt and like disaffectedness, which has kind of propelled us to either be as much as we can or to destroy ourselves one way or the other. And what do you think that propels you?
I don't know. I mean, I definitely feel like being straight edge my whole life and being a vegan for 34 years and having like this young spirit still, and I still feel like I just turned 50, but I still feel like I'm in my 20s. I still act like it. I'm still like a big kid, and I'm still high on life. I still enjoy skateboarding. I still like thrive off of trying to make new shit. Yeah, like making my merch line or my nonprofit and my podcast. I like to stay busy. I like to do things. I like to be in control of my life. I haven't had a boss in a really long time, and I like to control my life. And I think that inspires me to never want to go back to having like a shitty boss or doing something that I didn't like to do. I guess I made it my goal to, no matter what I do the rest of my life, it's going to be on my terms, and I'm going to do what I love and be happy, because I feel like to be happy is part of having a positive mental attitude. I mean, doing what you love, I think, keeps you young and happy. I think if you're doing something you don't love, forced to do to make money, and you're miserable, but you're paying your bills, I don't think you're ever going to be happy like that. I feel like I've always tried to sacrifice and take chances to do what I love. And I stuck by it, and stuck by my convictions and my morals. And I don't know, I figured out a way to, I don't know, just do what I love and make cool things. And I'm very lucky that people follow those things I do. Like they follow my nonprofit, all my merch lines. Like everybody's always supported what I've done through my band. You know, it all started with a band. It was a joke. I don't know. I love feeling young. I want to feel young the rest of my life. I want to be able to surf with my son and skate with my son and be young with my son. I never wanted to be a dad that didn't want to just be sitting on the couch and just like watching my son run. I want to stay young and feel young. And so I guess obviously when I had my son, that changed everything, my perspective on life, even to hustle even more and to be healthy and be there for him. But yeah, leading up to, I just love touring. I love going on tour. I didn't have a son. I didn't have a wife. My wife was my girlfriend at the time. She sold merch. I've been very blessed to like, not just do what I love, but have my girlfriend with me, Moon. She was selling merch. I was just living this life that's not really normal. It's like when you say like, when's you're going to get, if we're ever going to go back to normal life, me and all my friends really don't live normal lives. We play this music that's still kind of shocking and weird to people, and we make a living doing it. We travel the world still, and people care. We're very lucky. We play these shows to people spitting on me, jumping on you, jumping on your head. And that's not normal. That's never going to be normal to anybody. So I feel like I've always been like a black sheep in society where I wasn't living, even though I own a house, I pay my taxes, I do my jury duty. You know, I'm 50 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like the normal thing was I never felt like I fit into society. I'm sure you haven't either. And people that come from our world, punk rock and hardcore, we don't feel like that. We feel like we're young till we die, and we want to change things, and we want to inspire, and we just want to be the best people we can be and lead by example. But we're not perfect.
No, we're not. We will fuck up because we're human beings. It's part of the human experience. That's
I think
something
I'm just high on life, bro. I'm just high on life.
Yeah, that's it. That's what motivates you. Being pumped.
Bro.
Yeah. Word up. So straight edge has been like you were never like a militant straight edge band, like say Earth Crisis or any of that metalcore Syracuse scene, but that has been like, I suppose,
I respect and I love all those kids.
me too. Yeah, I'm a huge. I was just listening to you talk
their
about
passion, their dedication, and they're all still like that, and I think it's awesome.
Yeah, but you've approached straight edge, I guess, from a more live and let live approach, huh?
Yeah, it's a personal choice to me. Yeah, it's for me. It's for me and my body. I'm vegan for the animals, and I'm straight edge for me. Obviously, I wouldn't want to be doing drugs and getting wasted and being that kind of father or husband either. So, but yeah, it's for me, and yeah, my mental. I think I've always been a hyperactive kid. I think my mom maybe had me on Ritalin or tried to put me on Ritalin as a kid. I've always been very spastic and a lot of energy, and yeah, I never needed it. I never needed to feel cool. I never needed to fit in, and yeah, man,
When because you got a teenage son now, right? How old is Max?
17, man.
Wow. I seen you that photo a while back when he was just a little kid.
Okay, yeah, man, it's crazy.
It's wild. So with parenting, how do you impart that information to him? Is he like, don't do drugs, or is it hey?
He just teases me. He knows that's who I am, what I represent. Like we talk about all the time. Like he's like one of the only kids out of his whole crew that hasn't tried anything, and it's awesome. And it's like I don't preach to him. He just knows that I've lived my life like this, and I'm leading by example, not like being like when he's 18 years old and he doesn't live at home. It's his choice when he goes out into the world. But how he's been raised and the morals and the people he's been around so many like extraordinary musicians, all kinds of people he's been around his whole life. He sees that, and it's really he's in the other room, but it's really cute. I saw him do a question thing like on his Instagram story once, and they're like, "You Jewel, you get high?" And I saw him right now. I'm straight edge. And I got like goosebumps just saying that. And I don't say that to him enough, but I saw him on his Instagram. He's doing a poll on there. It's pretty cool.
But Moon drinks, right? Your wife?
Yeah, she drinks not much, but I think she needs the drinks to be married to me and have matches. But yeah, Max has never had animals, never ate meat. He can have meat whenever he wants, but he said he's never gonna have that either because he's been to all the pig vigils. He knows where it comes from. He knows all about it. He's been schooled in that department. But once again, both these choices are what he learned living here in this house when he grows up and goes out in the world. Whatever he wants to do. But we can only try to inspire and just, I don't know, teach him where stuff comes from and what it does. So he knows a lot of my friends who overdosed, the effects of drugs, and he's a smart kid. He knows what's up.
I think I really like that approach because when I was young and pissed off and angry at the world, I used to be, this is the time before social media was huge, like rant on and be pissed off at people and try and lecture people and tell them, well, it was a better way of living. But now with this whole advent of like cancel culture and like call out culture and shit, I'm just like, that seems counterproductive because when you make people feel like shit or make them feel judged, it doesn't really make them want to change in my experience.
It doesn't. When you shove something down somebody's throat like that, they're going to rebel. Just like if you tell your kid he can't have that candy, of course he's going to go take that candy when you fucking leave the room. You know what I mean? Like if you say things to kids and the way you do it, I've always tried to be teachy, not preachy, lead by example. When I speak at the schools, like, why do you look so young? Why's your skin so good? I'm like, well, there's this thing called veganism, or I never, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I try to do it. I don't try to be like, you should be like this. My wife's not straight edge. My band's not straight edge. Just like a lot of my friends aren't. They never were. Sometimes I was the only straight edge friend of all my New York hardcore friends I was chilling with. It's just always been my thing for myself personally. But it's interesting later on in life when your friends you grew up with, oh yeah, I'm sober now. Oh, I turned vegan and I turned vegetarian. People that you've been around with your whole life that you probably had no impact on, or maybe they didn't. Now in the older years, like, oh, I'm like that now. I'm like, oh, awesome. He came around.
Yeah, word.
Whatever it took, a health scare, whatever it took, because no matter how much you're trying to inspire people to help people, at the end of the day, it's really up to them. You can try as much as you can to change or help somebody, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's up to them,
Do you get frustrated seeing all the fucking, I don't know. I find the internet's like a wild space these days. It's not really that positive and kind.
It is, but like I was talking to you before this, it's like, as of lately, like I just went like 18 days not even posting on it. I tried to take a break. And like I've been going to the ocean a lot, and I've lived here for almost 20 years. I never really fucked with the ocean. I like going to the sand. I'm not really a big ocean guy, but my son became a surfer and he's incredible. And I've been going to watch him now, like, fuck it, I'm going to try. And Dan Smith sent me a wetsuit. Thank you, Dan Smith. And I've been trying to surf, and I'm riding waves. I'm standing up on waves now, like becoming a surfer at 50. And when you go to the ocean for like 2 or 3 hours and you have your phone in your fucking car, it's just you're in the world, man. It's a beautiful thing. When you go on your phone for a second, it's like all this information about the COVID, about everything happening, the present. There's so much information. Like, I don't know what to believe anymore. You think it's one thing, the next day it's something else. There's so much information. There's so much fake and real shit. It's all blending together. And as much as like I'm happy, I'm healthy, we don't have no COVID, we have a roof over our heads, we're doing fine. That shit beats on you, bro. Even if you don't think it does, the whole world, everything in the world right now, all the violence, all the chaos, it fucking eats at you, man. It really does.
Yeah.
And their phone could be a cesspool, man. Be a rabbit hole of pure negativity, man. It's hard.
It's hard. Right? It's a hard balance because I want the world to be a better place. I want to stay positive, but I want to like speak out for like Black Lives Matter. I want people to think about stopping violence against women. But at the same time, yeah, you're right, man. Like, it's an information overload. We're not designed to be connected. Like,
Mhm.
24/7 to bad news. You speak in schools like I speak in schools, man. Like, what do you speak about?
Uh, I speak at schools about just, I was trying to break stereotypes. Basically what happened was there was a girl who was a fan of my band, and she was a teacher at Rockaway, Queens. And before the summer break, she did a PMA mix CD, and she had all her favorite bands. And one of my songs called Sunday, there was one H2O song on there. And so the kids took it home, and then when they came back, they had to write essays about their favorite song. And almost every single person picked H2O song. And these kids have nothing to do with hardcore punk. You could give a shit about it, know anything about it. It's inner city school in Rockaway, which actually had metal detectors, all this shit. And they actually got shut down since I've been there.
Whoa.
And they sent me these heartfelt letters. I was crying reading these like 50 letters about the song. And she's like, hey, you guys are playing out here this month. Come by the school. You should meet them. You should give them a talk. And I'm like, give them a talk? What do you mean? She's like, do a PowerPoint. And so I was like, what the fuck's a PowerPoint? So then I like freaked out, put this PowerPoint together with my whole story, my life story, people who died from drugs and alcohol, my just the whole thing. These are my friends who are straight edges, just the whole thing about my life, I guess. And I was super nervous, had these like note cards written out, had them in my back pocket. I was so sweaty. My boy Tall from Crossroads came, my boy Vaughn came. My main concern was not to say fuck, because I say fuck a lot. When I'm on stage, I swear a lot. My main concern was like, don't swear, don't swear. So I got in this classroom. It was like a small classroom, and the kids started reading me their letters to me. And I was tearing up. They were tearing up. It was so fucking heavy. And I did my PowerPoint. Never. And as soon as I grabbed the mic, I never even looked at the cards once in my pocket. It just flowed, like, because it's pictures. I'm going through my life and all that shit. And it was cool. It was a great response. And it's a different feeling than being on stage when a whole audience came to see you or know who you are. These kids don't care. You're just some tattoo weirdo in the school. You know what I mean? Like, and it really connected. And as soon as I posted about it, told somebody about it, all of a sudden, like out of all these places, like parents who grew up in hardcore, like they're on the PTA, they're counselors, they're principals, they're teachers. Come to my school, come to this school. Oh my God, come to this school. And so then it started like snowballing. So I started going to all these schools through the strength of hardcore and the community and my band, and people grew up with my band, and just now their kids are in school. So I signed up for a nonprofit, which took like a year to get. I just started hitting all these schools, and it was real. I did like 35 schools total as of now. And yeah, it was great, man. It's just speaking to the kids, and I love the Q&A at the end. I love people asking their questions. It's funny, some schools, after I gave like a heartfelt speech and gave people hope, they're like, I don't believe you're straight edge. There's no way. Why? Because I have tattoos, because I'm in a band, because, you know what I mean? Like, there's these stereotypes of musicians that are like, you cheat on your girl, you go to rehab, you're you know what I mean? And like, I, I'm not like that, and a lot of my friends are not like that, and there's a lot of people that look like me who live drug-free lives, who are happily married, who travel the world, you know, and so that's where the whole thing stemmed from. And I haven't done it in a while, obviously the COVID. And then what happened was we were like on a timeout with the band, and then all of a sudden we made like Nothing to Prove, and then went back on tour forever. So it's like, whenever this comes back to, we can go visit. I'd love to do it. You know, it was really fun. It's a different experience than I ever get from being on stage. Because before I was, oh, it's just like being on stage. It's not like that at all. It's different, man.
Do you think kids today have got like a harder road to adulthood than when you grew up? Do you think they got more challenges with social media and the opioid epidemic and shit like that, or just
I think
different?
my wife's gonna say hi.
Yo, what's up, Moon? How you going?
Um, I think obviously, yeah. I think there's way more access to pills and stuff like that, and they weren't really so much around when I was a kid. Obviously, in the '80s, it's way different. I think it's not even that. I think it's they have so much access. They have so much stimulation with the phones, and there's so much shit they're looking at on a daily basis. And the kids are on their phones in classroom. I think there's that, and the pressure of fitting in, being cool. Before, you know, you could leave your friends and go home. Maybe you call them on the home phone, or maybe you won't even see them to the next day at school. Now it's like constant on the phone. There's pressures. There's the Kardashians, who people want to be like the girls. There's all these outside influences that aren't so positive, that aren't really coming from inside the home, from the parenting. I feel like it's my job and my wife's job to be the number one role model for Max. If we're not a role model for my son, he's going to go outside and get it from some other person, maybe negative, or it could be bad. So like, it's our job to be his role model and have open communication, which we have so openly. Like now, I'm like, you're 17, bro. I don't want to hear about that shit. But I like the open communication. I like the open communication because we've had that from jump with Max, open thing. And I think that's super important. I think a lot of kids keep things in and they get depressed or suicidal, don't talk to anybody, and then they explode and it becomes something that you can't fix. I feel like
Yeah.
kids had communication in the home with their parents and not scared to tell them that they're being picked on. Because kids are getting picked on their phones all day at school and then all night. Like, unless you
Yeah.
shut your phone, you can bully you fucking 24/7. Back in the day, you get bullied at school, you go the next day, you have to deal with it, or you know what I mean? Or your parents are quitting now. If somebody fucks with your kid, you can't go into the school because the kid's a snitch, and then it'll really catch a bad one because you told your parents. It's fucking nuts, man. It's a very
Yeah.
interesting time. Yeah. And like Max, I mean, there's drugs in the school, there's drugs in the bathroom going on, there's kids selling drugs at school. It's the pill's really big, like you said. Yeah, man, it's scary to be a parent, especially in Los Angeles, man, raising a kid in LA. We're very lucky that Max is a really, really good kid. And we have that communication that I hope a lot of parents, if you're listening, it's super important to have that from jump, not be afraid to tell your parents anything, because it's sad how many kids keep things inside and let it destroy them and not tell
Yeah.
them and all that shit. Or like start doing, maybe because maybe they're getting picked on as shit's happened, they're too scared, but then they like start medicating themselves because they want to be numb because they're scared. It sucks, man. It's sad. There's a lot of mean kids out there, bro.
I know, man. I was just at a school today, and the principal was telling me how a young person there committed suicide last year just based off internet bullying. You know, yeah,
Wow.
it's a thing, man. We have a big problem here in New Zealand with particularly young men committing suicide, and that is, you know, part of the complicated cause of the problem. Um,
Yeah, man, sure.
it's
Scary, man.
yeah, it is really scary. I've become a
You
stepdad.
want to have kids?
I've got a stepson. He's 6 now.
Okay, great.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah, he's been in my life since he was maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never plan on having kids, but now I'm in this position. It's a real privilege, man. Like, I won't say it's easy, but he's an amazing kid, and yeah, you're Max. Yeah, you're Max's dad. Shit is wild.
I mean, it's it's not it's not so hard as it is stressful at times,
Yeah,
overwhelming. You know, and
just trying to balance your own life with being an amazing parent.
and emotionally. I mean, you go through the different times where like, oh, now he's going to without his friends, and now he doesn't need me to take him there, or he's on his bike now, he's on his skateboard now, he's going independent. Then he starts growing up. You know what I mean? You still want to keep that bond, but like, he's 17 now. He has a girlfriend. He's out with his friends. He's getting his driver's license. These different chapters of his life where it's like he's always going to be my baby boy, and that's how I'm going to see him. But in reality, it's like they grow up and they go out of the nest and they get out there, and you just got to have the best time you can when you have them, and inspire them the best and raise them the best you can. And yeah, it's definitely an interesting journey, man. You know?
I think I saw you really upset and tearful and crying the first time he went like away from you by himself, like overseas.
Yeah, yeah, it's fucking hard, man.
You know that that's a really powerful thing, right? Like not many men like in your position are that emotionally vulnerable. Do you know, like, are you aware that you're role modeling that behavior? Like, do you do it intentionally to help dudes not
No,
be so like,
I'm a weeping fucking mess, bro. I'll put Coldplay on right now and start crying in this video. I don't give a fuck. Or Sade. I don't care. I've always been very sensitive. My mom cries at a fucking drop of the dime, and we're a very emotional family, me and my brothers. And I don't know if that started after my dad died. Like, we've never got therapy for it. We always talk about how we go to movies or we see different movies where parents die. Even like Nemo, any fucking thing where a parent dies, it crushes me and my brothers. And the thing about me and my brothers is that, like, we were so young that my mom didn't let us go to the funeral. We never got to say goodbye to my dad. We never
oh,
had that closure with my dad. And I feel like it's fucked us, all three of us, up as we gotten older. We talk about it. I definitely think my whole family needs therapy. We never did it, but I always got therapy through my music and my lyrics and performing, and it's very therapeutic to write things out and sing about them, and that's really helped me. And yes, I feel like we've been emotional from the jump, from that time. Like, And then you become a parent, and then you don't have your dad. I could text my dad right now, yo, dad, remember when you took me fishing or my first baseball game? Taught me to ride a bike. I have none of that shit. So that makes even more mental fuck too. And you're like, oh shit, I never had that. And then you try to give all that to your son, and try to give him. That's why I'm so like emotional and so like tight with my son, because I didn't have a dad to do that with. And I feel like that's how my brothers are. They're great dads as well, my brothers. I feel like we're all like that. And that we are emotional. I'm never afraid to show my emotions ever. I know that sometimes I'm like, well, I'm even in a hardcore band. I'm too I should be the emo band. I'm too emo.
Yeah.
But I don't give a fuck. Like everything I post and everything I put online, that's me 100%. People that know me, that's me. If I'm emo on a video, it's me. I don't give a fuck. I don't know. I've always been that way. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And that's how I express myself. And yeah, I am an emotional person. I think everybody's emotional. I think there's emotion. I think Mabel has emotion. I think there's emotion in every type of music.
I
You know what I mean?
remember I remember watching you play one time and you're like, yo, this is Freddie Madball. Anger is an emotion. He's here to be emotional. He's an emo kid.
Freddie Madball fucking turned me on to Coldplay. He's like, yo, bro, we're on the Hazen Street tour. I said, yo, bro, check out this band Coldplay. I heard the name. It's like, listen to this shit. So it's Freddie Madball's fault that I'm a Coldplay freak. I always talk to me, laugh about it now, because then like he loves that band too. That's
Yeah.
the other thing. People think hardcore people only listen to hardcore. We don't. Every single one of my friends listen. I listen. I know more about. I said this in the podcast. I know more about hip hop history than I do punk rock. I was more into that growing up than I was punk and hardcore. But I probably know way more about what album when it came out, the song, because I was in New York during the best time in hip hop and got to see so many artists performing. Ezak, all of us would go to hip hop clubs. Like it was such a great time in New York.
Well, talking about hip hop, you just interviewed like just before you jumped on this, Will.i.am from Black Eyed Peas, right?
Yeah.
Yep, for One Life for your podcast.
Yeah. When's this? This is not coming out soon, is it?
It comes out whenever you want it to come out.
Don't put out before I drop him, because I'm
Okay.
dropping in 2 weeks.
All
Yeah,
right.
that was great. I met him on the Warped Tour in '98 when they did the Warped Tour, and yeah, super top. I'm still blown away from today. The conversation and information, and how smart, humble, talented he is as a human. He's awesome, man.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of their music, but I imagine they're incredible people. Just to drive yourself to that level of accomplishment, it takes a
producing,
special sort of human.
acting.
Yeah.
He does everything.
How did you connect?
I just know him in the vegan world too. He became vegan 2 years ago too. That's
Oh,
how we
word.
connected through that. Yeah.
Because veganism is another part of your journey. Like, you're always at a crossroads, and veganism is kind of like blowing up right now for a whole range of different reasons. Yeah, some people like in the mixed martial arts world that I guess I hang out in, are thinking they're going to be a better athlete after that film, The Game Changers, came out, and I've been a vegetarian for 21 years, and people are like, yo, dude, like, where'd I take my girlfriend who's a vegan for dinner and shit like that?
Awesome.
How did you get into veganism?
I got into veganism, and when I moved to New York, I ended up living in different people's houses. I would jump from like my friend Timmy Chunks from Tokenetchi, then to Sick of It All guys, and ended up at the Gorilla Biscuits house in Jackson Heights, Queens in 1988. It was me, Walter Schreifels, Alan Cage, and Civ. We lived right next to the Burger King. We called it Murder King. And I didn't have much meat growing up. Like I said, we were kind of poor. My mom would make, the only fish I've ever had one time was my mom made fish sticks in a fucking microwave. They're disgusting. I never had sushi, none of that shit. And my mom would make her fucking famous meatloaf. It was like, that's what we ate at the house. So I wasn't eating a lot of meat growing up. Anywho, when I moved to New York, PETA had videos at the punk show showing those videos of slaughterhouses. There were pamphlets. All the guys I lived with were vegetarians. I was listening to KRS-One at that time. He had a song called My Philosophy. First hip hop artist I ever heard talk about vegetarianism. And then I got to sing backups on the whole Gorilla Biscuits Start Today album. And one of the songs is called Cats and Dogs. And the chorus is Thou Shalt Not Kill. And the song's basically saying, why do cats and dogs have all the luck? And why do we eat these animals? They're just as smart and beautiful and loving, pigs, cows, all that. And so, just in 1988, I went vegetarian, living with those guys. And then soon after, a couple years after, back then people couldn't even say the word vegan. They didn't know what the word fucking even meant. Vegan, they couldn't even say it. And so like, and then slowly get rid of wearing animal products and wearing like canvas shoes in the fucking winter blizzards, freezing for these goddamn animals. Wearing like all kinds of shoes that got soaking wet, sacrificing. And yeah, I became vegan after that. Yeah, and so I haven't had meat or anything since 1988, man. It's crazy.
Again, you're breaking down the stereotypes, huh? Tattooed up like hardcore punk singer on a plant-based diet. That
I know, like I said this too, like when I would take the subways with my friends, we were in tank tops in the summer and cut off shorts, and I would like try to give an old lady a seat, and they were like, no, or like get up and let a kid sit down. Nobody wanted to fuck with me. They thought I was like some psycho. Meanwhile, I was like, I never been arrested. I never did any drugs. I don't eat animals, but I look like a total psycho. So I get it, but like, yeah, just the stereotypes, man. Especially for punk rock, people think it's this crazy violent thing, and obviously it's had its times where it was like that and had violence at the shows and pits and stuff, but from the outside perspective it looks like this insane thing. But for me, I only drew positivity from it. You know, I only took all that positive from the melodic hardcore bands I liked, and the PMA with the Bad Brains and 7 Seconds and these bands. I got so much positivity out of veganism and straight edge and hardcore. Some people took it different ways, and that's however people would take it for themselves, and it affects them. It's you know, it's for everybody. But for me, that's how it was. Only positivity hardcore brought to me. You know, 7 Seconds, my favorite band wearing a shirt. That music was such a positive impact, and some people look at it like it's this negative, violent, crazy thing. It's like fuck this and fuck that, and I don't know. Hardcore for me was like, okay, that's fucked up. Let's fix it. Like some of the punk was like anarchy and fuck your parents, and I was like, okay, I like my mom. She's awesome. I don't hate my parents. But when then you heard Minor Threat and you heard 7 Seconds and Dag Nasty and Descendants and all these bands, it was a different part of the music that was like you connected to the lyrics. You know what I mean? Like you relate to it, and skate to it. If I could skate to it, relate to it, then I loved it. Like, oh shit, Minor Threat. I'm 13 years old and I never tried drugs or alcohol. And here's a song called Straight. Oh, I guess that's me. That's what I am. And fuck, I don't need that. I can be fucking. I can still skate and be cool punk rocker and not try anything. And that's why I just, at 13 years old, I'm like, I'm never trying anything. I'm like, I don't need to.
How do you think hardcore's changed over the years, man?
I mean, just the word hardcore itself has changed musically throughout the whole year. Some have got more metalish or more melodic, or I feel like hardcore music, it's had its up and downs. It's been really big. It's been really small. It's had a different sound. It's had a different energy, a different look. But what reality is, it's that it's, for me, it's, I guess, I don't want to say it's a way of life. It's just, I took all the inspirations from that and the morals and the beliefs that I agreed on, and equality and unity and open-mindedness and veganism and straight edge. And that's just part of my everyday life. That just became part of my life.
Who you are.
Who I am. And so I guess I live a hardcore life. Maybe my band isn't the most hardcore sounding to somebody else who might like harder hardcore. You know, Hatebreed's a hardcore band to me, but some people might think they have a metal edge to them. But Jamie Josta is a real hardcore kid who fucking started putting on DIY shows when he was super young, loves and lives this shit, and has their own style of hardcore. So it's like, I don't think I have the right to say what it is and what it means, because it means something different to everybody. You know, it's affected everybody in such different ways. At the same time, in the same way, where when you see somebody like wearing a hardcore shirt, you know, like you have this look, like, okay, we get each other. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
from that community, you know?
Yeah. You can travel around the whole world and make that friendship. You know, like, even if you don't even speak the same language, right? I've met kids in like Argentina or Chile, and you're like at a Suicidal Tendencies show in some weird club in a different country, and you're like, this is my family. That's what I've always
100%.
loved about it. Yeah.
Yeah, just traveling and going to Japan for the first time in like 96, and people singing your words in Japanese and hugging you and wearing your shit, and like seeing their passion, and like, holy fuck, like, and just like the language barrier doesn't even matter. They're just connecting by the lyrics. And going to Europe for the first time, South America, and just like leaving your wherever you live to go and play your music, and people care and they get it and they connect to it. It's really special, man. It's really special.
The hardcore scene is not what it was here in New Zealand. Like we had a pretty vibrant scene at like late '90s, started 2000s, which is kind of when I got into this shit, like 1996.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. And what's the situation over there in LA? Because I see like a lot of bands are touring Europe, and the shows look mental, like huge shows in
Right.
Europe. But is America the same?
America's not the same as far as huge shows. There's definitely parts of America that still. This is speaking for me personally, my band. I
Yeah,
can't speak.
yeah.
For us, there's certain places we still go, and it's still awesome, and it's still a great show, regardless of how many people are there. There's certain cities we still go to, and we have that same awesome show. But it's different than Europe. Europe's different. The festivals have such diverse packaging. There's different. We get to play with so many of our friends we never get to play with in America. Yeah, and obviously now with the COVID, who knows how that's going to move forward with smaller venues? Because when I see these things about like Coachella and these bigger festivals, like what the new rules are going to be and how what the capacity is going to be and the barricades, I don't think about H2O to see that kind of stuff because that's not where we play. But a smaller venue where kids can't really be 6 feet apart and all that might be way harder. But yeah, the shows in LA, last couple of shows I saw like Judge when they came through, that was awesome. Saw You Through Today when they came through, Madball, Cro-Mag, Sick of It All. Every time the New York bands come through, like I'm at the shows, and
Yeah,
it's cool to see bands I grew up seeing and playing with in the East come to the West and get that love. And it's a different kind of dancing. It's a different vibe. It's cool. But yeah, I mean, there's kids putting on shows, there's fanzines, there's kids doing underground shows, there's small venues. My son's band plays like these little like house parties and plays at a record store. All that stuff's still happening, like the stuff, that real DIY stuff still happens. And that's cool to see the different generations. I'm definitely old when I think about it. I'm 50, and like the generations underneath me now, they're getting into hardcore, and the younger bands that are touring. Like, it's cool that see hardcore never died, man. Like whatever people thought, or if we got too big, it's always going to be there, man. It's just pure music that you can't, that you connect to, and that it's not on the radio. It's I don't know. It's just something that's so real and honest.
It never got super commercialized, like hip hop, it broke out into the mainstream in a lot of ways, right? And now it dominates the charts.
Yeah.
Well, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. But hardcore never did that. Like people were like, what's the music like? You're like, hardcore. They're like, hardcore what?
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy, man. They ask you, like, if I'm flying somewhere and the student's like, oh, you guys are a band. Where you guys going? Oh, we're going to Europe. Got some festivals. Like, what kind of music? I'm like, well, it's like punk, but it's not like Green Day. And it's hard, but it's not like Metallica. It's somewhere between. It's like, I say it's like melodic punk. You say hardcore, then people think, oh, hardcore porn or the triple X means that. Dude, that's a whole different thing. But like to like people in everyday normal society, you're gonna be like, oh, what is melodic punk? You never heard of us. Yeah. And then they start Googling. Then they're in the back, like Googling, coming, oh, I just Googled you guys. Oh, okay, like.
You're real. Yeah. I changed my fucking middle name to hardcore because I loved it so much. And but now I'm an educator about pornography. Like I go speak in schools and and it's like this weird thing where I'm like, no, I never was a porn star. Like it's just the running opening gag that
people.
Yeah. People always think that I used to be like they'll find me having sex on the internet somewhere. So
You changed your name hardcore legally?
Yeah, bro. Like it's my legal middle name. Yeah. You didn't know that?
I don't know you could do that, man. I'm gonna change my middle name. Shit.
Yeah. What are you gonna change it to?
Maybe One Kenobi, Toby One Kenobi.
Yeah, Toby One Kenobi. There you go. Yeah, man. Like, I thought it was funny when I was 26, but now I'm 40. It's just like I have to explain it every fucking day.
Regret having it now or no?
Nah, man. No fucking way. Like, hardcore is like, yeah, man. Like hardcore is like hardcore and Thai boxing and martial arts like saved my life. Like I was this real insecure fucking kid from a dysfunctional family, and I had all these crazy feelings, and they both gave me a place to put them and people who understood me, and I got to meet when I was 19 years old, I flew to New York City and hung out there for 3 months and got to meet people like yourself and all my favorite bands. And every time a band came through Auckland, I'd tour, drive them around for tour. And I know you can't change that, man. Like it's been a life less ordinary, and it's been really atypical, and I would never change my name just because I have to explain it, you know? Like
Yeah, that's fucking. How old are you now? 40.
40 now. Yeah, yeah.
Well, why'd you come to New York for 3 months just to check it out and hang?
I just want to hang out, man. Like, like, like Lawrence is out there. You know, Reese, who used to play in Roger Moran, the Disasters, is out
Dean,
there.
Dean was out to Ben.
Yeah, Ben. Yeah, Ben was. I
Bubba.
think. Yeah, Bubba.
Yeah,
Ben was like drum tech for Sick of It All,
yeah, man.
and now he's like drum tech for like Ricky Martin or some shit, or tour
Nice.
manager from some
No,
shit.
man, it's like
He's
for him.
killing it. Yeah, me too.
So Lawrence, Bubba, Ben.
Reese, and there's this dude Stu out there.
Stu was up. I know Stu.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole crew, dude.
There's a whole New Zealand crew, and everyone was fucking cool to us because we had like different accents and we were from like the bottom of the world. And we all just like worked under the table jobs before 9/11, and it was dope. Like, yeah, I'm really glad I got to go to CBGB's a heap of times. And like,
New York.
stage,
Was
it was this fucking shit. Yeah, we got to like stage dive at Trocadero and like all this shit.
I never got to go to New Zealand, man. I really want to go. I've only been there for a layover, man. I never played there, dude.
Yeah, we always used to try and like talk to you about like coming down, but
I love. What if we came there now? We like 10 people. I mean, with somebody come out?
no, man. Like, I think Gorilla Biscuits came out here and like played like an indie. You know, like you'd get a fucking crowd. Like it would be like a club show. You know, like not like a.
I love that, man.
But like all the old heads would come out. I'm sure of it. You know, just
I never got to play that. That's on my bucket list for sure. New Zealand.
well, if I can help in some, I mean, I'm not a promoter, but I could put you in touch with promoters. So I would.
Yeah.
It would be fucking amazing to show you around the city. That'd be a really good
I
time.
heard, all I know is it's beautiful. Everything the Dan posts, I see all that stuff. It looks so beautiful there, man.
Yeah, it's quiet, you know, like it's not LA, but yeah, if you want to come out and go to the beaches and chill out, bring a family, you know, like it's like.
How many people live in your town? You live in a small town?
No, the 1.5 million people live in my city. So I live in like the biggest city, which is Auckland. And in the capital city is Wellington. There's only about 5 million people that live in the whole country. And like everyone's pretty spaced out. So yeah, it's great. It's beautiful. We're really lucky here, man. Like we're like the one country where we can have like big live events and not worry about getting COVID.
Yeah, right. So what time is it there right now?
It's 2:20 in the afternoon on what day is it? On Friday, yeah.
Tripped out, man.
Yeah. We're 19 hours ahead of you.
I know, it's crazy. So you guys can have concerts there now or no?
Oh, bro. Like all of that. Like concerts. Already? Yeah, man. Concerts. We have big, huge kickboxing events. Only place in the world right now. Like hundreds of people.
There or no?
No what?
You have to wear a mask outside there?
Nah, nothing.
Wow, dude. So there's no cases?
I don't think so at the moment. Nah, like so people coming back in the country have to be quarantined for 2 weeks. Like the government will put them in a hotel, right? And like the government pays for everything. Like you're in a hotel, all expenses paid. Not even a shit hotel. But people are like fleeing the hotels, and that's what's stressing out. Like the news media is like potential risk. Because they
won't stay for 2 weeks.
No, they're like, fuck this, I'm out. And a couple of times it's been like they've escaped because they're not meant to go out. Right? They've like,
wow, dude.
Yeah. And a couple of times I think it's because they've been like a bereavement, like someone's died in their family or they have some legit reason. But other times they're just kind of like not very thoughtful, community-minded people.
Yeah. So how long are you guys on lockdown for?
Man, I should know that. But
3 months?
Yeah, maybe 6 weeks or 4 weeks. I don't know. I call it summer because like I'm like, yo, summer was great because the weather was amazing and it's actually wintertime here, but our winter is really mild where I live.
Yeah.
It's super chill. But it was I think we had like I think I had to shut down my gym for a couple of months or something. I don't even remember.
Everything's normal, no mask, none of that shit.
None of that shit.
Wow, man.
Yeah, dude. We're like, I think our government did a really good job of like shutting down the economy and shutting the borders, and people moaned about it, but here we are, back to normal, way quicker than the rest of the world.
Everything's totally normal now. There, back like nothing.
But we can't travel. Like I can't jump on a plane and come. Yeah. But yeah, everything's back to normal, man. Like we're doing Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and there's like big tournaments. Wow, like they're announcing all the summer like music festivals with all the local bands like coming up for December, January and shit.
Jealous, man.
Yeah, we do have the natural advantage of that. We live in an island nation,
Yeah.
but I'm grateful to the way the government's handled it, man. And we all got like, I don't know what the situation was for you guys, but we all got paid by the government. Like if you couldn't go to work or you,
Yeah, unemployment's out here. People getting that. Yeah, extra money too. Yeah.
yeah, it's been, oh yeah, everyone is eligible for that, or if you're
Not
self-employed.
everybody, but a lot of people. I mean, millions of people got it. Yeah.
Ah, that's good. Because I was worried about that. Because I know like your healthcare system is real different. And
Yeah, you mean shit? Yeah.
yeah. I don't want to disrespect, but yeah, it's
So
pretty shit.
so you guys everybody automatically got money from the government the whole time.
Pretty much, man. Like if you were self-employed, you got paid out like $7,000, and
Wow.
if you employed people, like the government would give like pay all your employees like a subsidy, so the company didn't have
Yeah.
to pay as much, some shit like that. I'm not very good at explaining the details of it, but I think as far as I can tell, it was a really good model to dealing with it.
Yeah, you guys probably one of the leading countries in the planet right now. I guess it's moving forward. I'm sure.
Yeah. But then it's like, well, what happens when we reopen the borders or reopen the economy, or like it's a
Are the
crazy fucking.
airports closed?
They're not closed, like
Domestic, domestic.
yeah, like so domestically, and people are still coming in from overseas, like
Yeah.
repatriating.
Yeah.
But everything's super, like a lot of people have like had to shut down their businesses if they're based in like
Hard, man.
tourism or.
Yeah.
So I feel for people, man. It's a tough time.
They try
Yeah.
to keep pushing forward. Like just hearing that gives me hope that you guys are back and there's no mask and you guys are. It gives me hope because right now there's really no light at the end of the tunnel for us right here in America. The cases have gone up and president it's just really crazy right now. So we're just hoping it's gonna keep moving. It's that we're living day to day right now in a way, that doing the best we can every day because you really can't plan anything for the future because you know what's gonna happen yet.
I know. I feel for you because you're a touring musician still.
Yes.
Like that
Yeah.
must be really, really hard.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in Europe right now for 22 shows. Max is gonna be with me. It's our summer thing. We have all these festivals. I have my 50th birthday party sold out in New York in April. Had to move it to July. Had to move it again. Never got to do it, and just.
Man, that's brutal.
But at least I'm healthy. At least we.
But that's the thing, man. Like you take it for, yeah, like, I've
We're
been,
healthy. We're happy. We're safe. We're in California. We're stuck in Cali. It's a good place to be stuck in, I guess. I don't like the winter, so
yeah, I was talking to a guy in New York. He had me on his podcast. He's like a Muay Thai guy, and like I think he lost a couple of family members who are older. He lost his gym, like he couldn't afford the rent anymore, so lost his whole business. Like all that shit's real heavy. So I think
worse for a lot of people. We're very lucky, man. Yeah. For
yeah,
sure.
yeah. So I try my hardest not to like moan about some insignificant shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like stupid internet shit or petty comments, all that dumb shit, dude. Keep it moving, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
You're better than that, and you're fucking do a lot of great things. You're inspirational to a lot of people. You're a role model yourself, and
that's very kind. I'm basically trying to follow in your footsteps. Not to sound like not like I'm on your jock or anything, but I met you at a formative time in my life, and I was like, "Yo, what's this PMA shit? What's that all about?" Maybe let's finish up on that. I think a lot of people think when you talk about positive mood attitude, it's some sort of like ridiculous notion that you never have problems. But do you want to, before finish up on the whole concept of PMA and what that means to you?
PMA came from a guy named Napoleon Hill in the 60s. He had a book called Think and Grow Rich. He had a book called Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude. And he created this mindset and this philosophy that what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Basically, put your mind to something you believe in, you want to do, and stick at and work at, and the shit will happen. And you put PMA out into the atmosphere, and it'll come back to you tenfold. If you put negative shit out, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. If you surround yourself with negative people, negative things are going to happen to you. And Bad Brains were inspired by Napoleon Hill, and they wrote a song called Attitude. And that's the band that brought the PMA philosophy into the hardcore scene, positivity and having that mindset. And that inspired me, that inspired you, that inspired many people. And it became something that I was already a positive kid. I was already into the positive melodic hardcore. I didn't like violence. I didn't like hatred. I didn't like negativity. And yeah, I always try to look on the bright side. I always see the good in my friends. Even if my friends had some problems, I always see the good in people. And that may be a fault of mine or a weakness of mine, but I always like give everybody a chance. And yeah, I'm pretty naive a lot of the times, probably still. And I do live in my PMA bubble sometimes where I want the world to be all peaceful and unified. I know that's not the reality, but sometimes I get stuck in my bubble. And yeah, I think it helps me with my band. It's helped me with my marriage. It's helped me with being a father. And yeah, man, just look on the bright side of things. Yeah, and we're not perfect. I don't wake up every day skipping. Life is great, baby. Like I wake up grumpy. I wake up fucking with an attitude. Like, but now I do. I fucking eat good. I go hiking. I treat my body well because all that affects everything. What you eat, how you exercise, and how you treat your body affects your mindset, and all of that goes hand in hand. And so you make the best you can of each day. And then we're not positive. I mean, we're not perfect. So yeah, that's been my whole thing and my motto, and not my motto, but trickle down from, Napoleon Hill to the Bad Brains to other bands. And I just feel like it's a good way to live. And yeah, it doesn't mean that I can't get angry. It doesn't mean that I can fix everything. It doesn't mean that I can't get negative sometimes, or I can't get angry. If you have a positive attitude, like I said, you're not a perfect human. You can have bad days. You get pissed off, you know what I mean? But before you snap, like I have PMA in my middle finger. So like before you want to snap and like get road rage and probably potentially cause a fight or accident, you think about shit before you do it. The circumstance, is it really worth it to flip out the window at some fucking lady who cut me off, or get angry about some shit you have no control over that just happened? Like that's another thing. Do not stress and worry. Max, say hi right now to Richie.
What up, Richie?
Say what up.
Yo, Big Max, what's happening,
How
bro?
you doing?
Good, man. Nice to see you.
I'm in New Zealand right now.
Oh, dope. How's the surf out there? I've always wanted to surf there.
Yo, surf is good. It's pretty wild on the West Coast near where I live. Like Eddie Vedder nearly drowned from Pearl Jam.
And Smith sent me like a book of like every single surf spot and Point Break and Beach Break ever there. Like,
Dude, when all this COVID shit finishes, you got to come down. You can come stay at my place.
Once we're in Master, they're all back to normal, like in the gyms. Like
let's go live there.
We can't leave the country. I love to go to New Zealand for this hang. It's the
I'm
winter.
gonna go skate. I'm gonna try out my new board.
You already set it up?
Yeah.
You skate down the street?
I'm gonna skate a while and figure out where I go.
Okay, be safe.
Okay, peace out,
Peace,
Richie.
man.
So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just being in control of yourself, and especially when you're straight edge and you have a clear mind, and think before you take action, think before you do something stupid you might regret. Focus on other things. Like sometimes people just dwell upon the negative and not how to fix that, or they'll give you they'll give you like something like this is broken, or like I can't do this, but don't think about how to get around and do. I don't know, just kind of common sense to like do your best and don't think about if you could have a bunch of things going wrong, but just think about the one thing you have going right, the one thing you have, like you're healthy, you don't have the COVID, you have a roof over your head, you're freaking, you know what I'm saying? Like,
focus on what you do have, not what you don't.
Exactly. And it's sunny outside, go get some vitamin D, like push yourself, do something. Like don't get stuck in this rut where like you can't, I mean, you gotta, sometimes you gotta just take control of your own self and make fucking moves and do shit to make yourself happy. I feel like a lot of people just get complacent and sit maybe in a job or just a relationship or something, and they're miserable and like, and that's not good. That's not healthy. And you got to be happy. You have to be happy inside as well as like how you're living. And I don't know, man. It's definitely a struggle. Definitely during the COVID, I definitely felt like I don't know what the word. I don't know how to describe what depression feels like, or if it's a certain feeling. But I've definitely felt beaten down the first couple of months of this lockdown. Everything was getting canceled. It was really scary. My son was scared. We're wearing rubber gloves to the grocery store, and he had a gas mask, and the news and this shit, and like it was hard, man. It was hard to get up and get motivated, go hiking. You know what I'm saying? Like you felt like just like, what the fuck, is the world ending? You know what I mean? That shit's hard, man. And that's me being a human, a sensitive human, not a perfect human, not King PMA. That's just the reality of like, fuck, man. We have to make it through this as a family. We never experienced a pandemic before. Everything's closed. You have to wait in line to get groceries. Like that shit's.
Yeah, man.
You, man.
Yeah, word.
But then you make it through. I'm like the whole time, like we're not going to get it. We're going to get tested. We're going to wash our hands. We're going to do everything that, just to keep my family safe. You know what I'm saying? And like, but then like try to watch a comedy every night. Try to watch something that makes us all laugh together. We have movie nights. Everybody shuts their phones off. We fucking watch something that's stupid. It makes us laugh out loud, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. No. Our mental diet's just as important as our physical diet, man. Like if it's like
Yeah.
we're talking about these motherfuckers. Like if you're just
Word.
staring at that bad news all the time, then it's gonna affect your mind state, and it's gonna affect your body, and it's gonna affect how your relationships are. So it's
Yeah.
important. Yeah.
Yeah. And Steve Jobs said that he wanted to create a human extension of the body, and he created a human extension of the body. We are connected to these fucks.
Mm.
These like the last things you look at before you go to bed, like the first thing you look
I
at.
know. I'm so bad at that.
Dude, do you ever look at your phone and see how many hours you spend on it?
Oh,
Bro.
dude, I turned it off because it fucking brought me down. I was like, I'm a disgusting human. Like, fuck this. I don't.
It's like
And
a
it's
hate love
so
relationship.
bad. Yeah, it's a love hate relationship because it does keep me connected.
Yeah.
Like so many of people I love live in a different country, and
Yeah.
I don't feel like there's a hardcore community in New Zealand, and like a lot of my Muay Thai community live in different places. And my favorite, like
Yeah.
I need that connection, but at the same time, like I get caught up in bullshit and like,
Yep.
my girlfriend's a meditation teacher and she's really intentional with how she uses social media, and
Yeah.
it's exhausting. She's like, dude, you're lost in it. And she's right. So I've got to
Yeah.
work on that.
Yeah. And
Brother, yeah.
it's like I feel like the phones before the COVID, they were creating such they were socially distancing humans from each other.
Nice.
People be like, oh look, like, oh Richie's fine. You don't have to text him, see how he's doing. Oh, I see he's good, he's surfing, or Richie's on vacation. You look on that picture, you don't check in with them and see how they're doing. You see a photo and go, okay, they're fine, they're good, I don't have to worry about them. You don't text anymore, call and check in with Richie. It starts creating this distance between humans, right? And everybody's on their phones, put your phone down, like it's destroying relationships. And but then the COVID hits, and then it's like you want to be connected to that because you're locked in your house. Nobody's going to work. Everybody's stuck at home. Everybody's stressing about what's going to happen. So they're on their phones, like, what's up with the COVID numbers today? What's up with the government? What's up with the president? What's up with the riots? What's up with everything that's happening? And then I feel like it became something where we were connecting with each other. And how are you doing in that country? You go, oh, how are you doing in Germany? You guys are good? What's the death toll in Italy? Is everybody, friends hit me up? Everything's good here. We're making it through. Everybody look at it. It seemed like it became a little more positive as far as like keep it connected to what's happening in the whole world with this, because the whole world seemed to be affected by the COVID. It became that. It wasn't just Los Angeles. Everybody lost their jobs. Everybody's on lockdown for 3 months. And so I feel like that was the main way to connect to people. And I feel like a lot of positive stuff does come from the phones as far as like movements and online petitions and change and inspiring people with positive things. But you just got to follow the people that make you feel that way and not go down a rabbit hole and don't respond to a troll, don't respond to a negative message. Blocking people feels wonderful, and just keep it moving, man. You know what I'm saying? Like,
big style.
Right? It's just
Yeah.
because we were living fine before these things.
Yeah.
We were living,
kind of living better in some ways. In other ways, like this has been great for my career. Like
100%.
Like, but at the same time, yeah. Brother, I really, really appreciate the fact that you took the time out to talk with me today. I hope I get to come over to LA in the next year or two. Hopefully we can figure out how to travel again.
Hopefully soon too, man. I mean, if I could go there, if I could leave now, I'd come there right now, man. Go to
Yo, it's beautiful. Yeah, we got to get you guys down here. Yeah. Let's see what. Yo, it's beautiful. I don't know.
Black sand beaches.
Yes.
Sick. Yeah. About that.
Yeah, it's so good. It's pretty. It's a beautiful country. I know I can be a bit deficit focused. Like I can't get a vegan hamburger at like 3 a.m, but
that's because you've been to America. That's why.
Yeah, I know.
Spoiled
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. So yeah, before we die, you got to come down and hang out with us.
Yeah. Did you ever live anywhere else besides New Zealand?
I lived in Australia for a while with my ex-partner in a city called Melbourne. You've been there, right?
Melbourne's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Melbourne. Yeah, I lived in Australia, but I've only ever like traveled, like 3 months in New York, 3 months in South America, a couple of months over here. Yeah. Which has been great. I kind of regret not going away for a couple of years when I was younger, but yeah, when I was in my 20s, I met someone and fell in love and we had a life here, and I didn't really want to just I didn't know how to up and leave, So just how the cookie crumbled. But yeah, I'm grateful to have seen the world, I think a lot, relatively speaking.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully.
Are you still young, man?
Yeah, work. Yeah. I still got goals, you know.
It's just a number, dude. As you get older, when I turned 50, I was like, I don't feel any different. Like, it's a number, man. It's just you take care of yourself, man. You know.
Word.
That's it.
Toby, give my love to all the homies over there.
I will,
And
man.
yeah, I don't know. I'll talk to you very shortly, huh?
Yeah, man.
Yo,
Thanks for
and
having
just on a personal note, thank you for everything, man. Like your music and your message and our friendship. Like you've been a really force for positivity in my life since I met you 20 years ago. So I just want to acknowledge that.
I'm honored to be your friend. I'm honored to be part of that inspiration to you and the soundtrack to your life. And yeah, man. And I love what you're doing too, man. You're doing so much positive things for the community, at schools, everything, man. I really appreciate what you're doing as well over there, you know?
That's very kind. Thank you, my brother.
All right, bro. Good talking to you.
You too. Peace.
Peace, bro. That was so cool.